Hey guys, this is going to be a review video for your semester 2 exam, the last test. How excited are you? Woo! I bet all of you applauded. I bet it was not dead silent when I did that because I just know all of you are just great participators. Anyway, I have the test right in front of me. I'm going to go through and read some stuff off. You should have your study guide out. If you don't have a study guide, I printed out extra copies. The sub should have it. Make sure you grab it to follow along. If you need to watch this video more than once, fine by me. You can have the sub stop it to write stuff down. Totally fine. I just want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need. Now, a couple reminders. One, there's a book it on Google Classroom. Oh, I can't talk. Google Classroom for you to study for Friday. Okay. So you make sure you're doing that. You're going to play that after this video, but make sure you're using that to study. Second thing, tomorrow, when you're done with your test, you need to be working on other work from other classes, or most importantly, for this class, you need to be finishing your project. Okay. We will be presenting your projects on Monday. No exceptions. You need to be ready to present with your finished outline and your demonstration, presentation, poster, whatever you're doing, ready to present that on Monday. Okay. So let's get started. I'll try and go through this kind of quick. Starting with the women's unit back in January, right? Alice Paul. We know her because she was arrested and force-fed while in jail. Remember, we looked at the tools that they held her mouth open with, right? So that's what you need to know for Alice Paul. Susan B. Anthony, author. Susan B. Anthony wrote the suffrage amendment, the 19th Amendment, okay? Harriet Tubman was a spy, nurse, commander, and leader of the Underground Railroad in the Civil War. And then Deborah Sampson, we talked about a little bit ago. Okay, it might not be fresh in your mind. But Deborah Sampson is that woman that dressed up as a man to fight in the American Revolution. And she got shot in the leg and she had to dig a bullet out of her leg by herself. Then she goes to the doctor, and then the doctor finds out that she's a woman, blah, blah, blah. We learned about that first semester, but we talked about her again in the women's unit, especially. In the Middle Ages, husbands could make their wife wear a metal mask around town to see if she annoyed him, right? That mask was called Scold's Bridle. Okay, so it's a mask that during the Middle Ages, medieval times, husbands could make their wives wear it if they just for no reason at all. They could just make them wear it. Scold's Bridle. The pink tax is the reason why women spend more money than men do at the store for the same products. It's called the pink tax. Going into our next unit, which was talking about the amendments, and then we'll get into the 1920s. 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. 16th Amendment gives them presents the federal income tax. Okay. So taxing based on how much money you make. Prohibition is the 18th Amendment. No alcohol. That's the 18th Amendment. You can vote for senators. Remember? Dancing Queen. Feel that beat, only Senate teen. Get it? Because it's like, you know what? I bet none of you laughed at that one. And that's a good one. 17th Amendment is that one. Senators, right? Senate teen. Repeal of prohibition, meaning got rid of the 18th Amendment. That is the 21st Amendment. Okay. You can drink when you're 21. And in the 21st Amendment, alcohol was legal again. What is used to make wine? Grapes. We didn't touch on that. We maybe touched on it a little bit during 1920s, but that'll be extra credit, I think, on your test tomorrow. First cartoon with sound was called Steamboat Willie. Al Capone was arrested for not paying his taxes. Al Capone died from syphilis of the brain. And President Harding is known for the Teapot Dome scandal. Remember, corruption within the government, and people that were under him. Great Depression. A Hoover blanket was a newspaper. Hooverville was a collection of cardboard shacks. Hoover flag was an empty pocket turned inside out. And Hoover ball was played on the White House lawn. Part 4, World War II. Leader of Nazi Germany is Hitler. Leader of Fascist Italy is Mussolini. Leader of the Soviet Union is Joseph Stalin. President of the United States at the beginning of the war is FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The President of the United States at the end of the war is Harry Truman. The Emperor of Japan is Hirohito. The military commander of Japan is Hideki Tojo. And the Prime Minister of England during World War II is Winston Churchill. The military commander that led troops to capture Sicily, and he was known for smacking that one soldier to try and snap him out of it. They were having like a PTSD spell, so he smacked him. That is Patton. Was diagnosed with polio and gave fireside chats. That is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Stalin used purges to kill millions of people. Mussolini used the black shirts. That was his army. And then the brown shirts, as well as feeling hyperinflation within his country, was Adolf Hitler. Part 5, the Holocaust. What's the anti-Semitic is a phrase that refers to racist or bigoted view of the Jewish community. Nuremberg laws were the laws that took away Jewish people's freedom in Germany. Ghettos were set in small spaces with extreme overpopulation. The living conditions were miserable, and they were under constant surveillance from the Nazis. To be recognized in public, Jewish citizens were forced to wear the yellow Star of David. Hitler's plan to kill all the Jewish people of Europe was called the Final Solution. What was the name of the gas they used in the gas chambers at the concentration camp? That is Zyklon B. Who were the heroes? This is civil rights now. Who were the heroes in the movie Birth of a Nation? That is the KKK, or you could also put the South. Number 43, which president admitted his prejudice of African Americans and the Japanese? That is Truman. How many years since the USA has been a country did we have institutional racism? 192 or 78%. How many little girls died from the bombing of the Alabama church in 1963? That is 4. How old was Emmett Till? 14. True or false, Emmett Till sexually assaulted a white woman? That is false. We learned about that lady later coming out and saying that she made the whole thing up, and then that woman just died last week or a couple weeks ago. Loving versus Virginia was a court case that said you can marry outside of your own race, so mixed race couples is legal. The Federal Housing Act was said no more redlining. Brown versus the Board of Education was a court case that said separate is not equal and helped end segregation in schools. The Civil Rights Bill or Act, of 1964 altered the electoral map for the last 58 years. And then our last part, part 7, Cold War in the Middle East. Eisenhower, during his term as president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, Russia launched Sputnik, the Russian satellite, and he also ended the Korean War during his term as president. JFK was assassinated, and he was also president during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Lyndon B. Johnson came up with the Great Society. Remember, he came after JFK was killed. Carter was president during the Iran hostage crisis. Jimmy Carter was president. Gerald Ford was known for pardoning Nixon after he was, committed those crimes that led to his impeachment trial. And then speaking of Nixon, Richard Nixon is known for the Watergate scandal, and the Vietnam War officially ended during his presidency. Ronald Reagan, during his presidency, the USSR broke apart. He was president during the Iran-Contra scandal. Clinton was impeached. George H.W. Bush, raised taxes even though he promised he wouldn't, and was president during Desert Storm. George W. Bush, during his presidency, the attack on 9/11 took place. The 20-year Afghanistan war started, as well as the Iraq war. During Barack Obama's presidency, gay marriage became legal. Don't ask, don't tell, which prevented service members from openly serving as a member of the LGBTQ community. Don't ask, don't tell, that is repealed during Obama's administration. And during Obama's administration, he helps organize and order the attack that killed Osama bin Laden, who was one of the men responsible for the 9/11 attacks. And then some old stuff to remember. Which invention led to the need for cheap labor in the form of slavery? The cotton gin. The defensive line in the Union North that they used at Gettysburg, the strategy that they used was in the shape of a fish hook. The term logistics is planning and understanding how to get soldiers' supplies and communication to where it needs to be, bullets and beans to the front lines. That is logistics. What question should you ask in history class? You should always ask why. It's important. Which brings me to my last question. History is not about the good guys or the bad guys, but it's about perspective. So that is your test. I literally just read your test to you. Most of it verbatim, word for word. So please make sure that you are studying. I will post this on Google Classroom so you can play this over and over and over again to try and get all those answers. I miss you guys. I will see you next week when we go to Six Flags and we ride all of the roller coasters together. See you guys.